Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode, can you believe it? Episode 700. 700 recorded episodes, which is kind of mind-blowing, right? I mean, how many podcasts have 700 episodes? I'm sure quite a few, but it's amazing to be here. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I would say in the future, this is being broadcasted live on YouTube, on Facebook. So go ahead and join us on YouTube. And that means we can support you on the live show. We have like a pre-show, we get to know each other, discuss certain things. And then on the after show as well of this recording, we have a few more minutes to get together and to figure things out and kind of see what happens. So I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. in the East Coast, and 11 p.m. in the United Kingdom. And yes, that's exactly what we do. But in this episode, we're talking about when talk therapy doesn't work. Now, I'm going to emphasize on the when here because I'm not saying talk therapy doesn't work. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying when it does not work. Just like when hypnosis doesn't work, I did an episode about why hypnosis doesn't work at times. So I like to cover all bases here. So you may have done talk therapy. And let's just say talk therapy could be things like psychologists, therapists, counselors, when you're just talking about your issue. Now, let me be very clean and clear of my language once again. I have zero dislike to that therapy. Any forms of talk therapy, I have zero dislike. I think any therapy which is geared to help you is perfect, right? Or not necessarily perfect, but it's intentionally is perfect. And therefore, we should celebrate how many mediums of transformation that there are. So whether it be talk therapy, whether it be hypnosis, because I do forms of talk therapy as well, right? Like this right now, I am talking, and there's a level of that. There'll be things that you'll be considering on the inside. When I think about my business, my main program, we get to hang out, we talk about things. So I just want you to be aware, I'm not throwing stones at other therapies. In fact, I want to lift them up because any vehicle of change is good. And also we resonate with different vehicles of transformation depending on how different we are. Because we're all different. Like I gravitated to hypnosis because it let go of my issue just like that. So it was an example of letting go of the imposter syndrome, the worries, the fears, the blushing, and the anxieties that I used to have. So it's my go-to, right? It's what my love. In fact, I'm actually teaching a hypnosis weekend starting tomorrow. But the reason why I wanted to be able to do this episode is when talk therapy doesn't work is because I don't want you to go, oh my goodness, I did talk therapy and it didn't work and therefore it's rubbish, right? Just like I did on the hypnosis episode of why or when hypnosis doesn't work. So for a lot of people, talk therapy is very, very good, and I'll tell you why. Because you are starting to consciously express the pain, the trauma, at an unconscious level to a degree. You see, your unconscious mind represses information, in other words, emotions, events, as in our past, our worries and doubts. It represses it beneath the surface to try to protect you. So I'm emphasizing try. It doesn't always do it very well. Like, repressing anything's not good, but in the moment it's great to repress things because it needs time to work through it. So think of like talk therapy as the opportunity to no longer repress. So I'm not saying it's bad, I'm actually saying, yeah, it's actually a good thing. So we want to be able to articulate it. We want to be able to not bury it at the unconscious level. We want to be able to consider it. And usually you need an expert to guide you there, right? So they ask you questions, which gets you talking about your experience. So it's all good and great on that level. Now, like hypnosis, which I talked about, there are some reasons why hypnosis doesn't work, and I broke it down very thoroughly. But let's go into why talk therapy sometimes doesn't work. Because the other reason I want you to know this is I don't want you to take the blame as to why it didn't work. Have you ever noticed that? You go, I worked for others, it didn't work for me. That must mean I was the problem. You're never the problem, my friends. In fact, you are the solution. You're amazing in my world. I really mean that. I want you to recognize that. So you are never the problem, unless you didn't show up to the therapy sessions, if you just didn't go there, or you weren't paying attention, or all that stuff. But let's just presume you did talk therapy, you were there, and it didn't work for you, and you go, oh my goodness, it must mean I was a problem. You're never the problem. So number one, maybe, not everyone, but maybe not everyone is good at doing that as a practice, right? Like, I know there are many bad hypnotherapists out there. I've seen them. They're not good. Not all of them, but there's many bad mechanics out there. There's probably lots of bad builders, police people. We know that to be true, right? So we know not everyone's going to be good at their thing. So number one, take the pressure off and go, maybe that could be a reason. It doesn't have to be the reason, but we don't want to give up on ourselves. The other thing we've got to consider is that when you do talk therapy, we are trying to connect with our unconscious mind in a way by analyzing information. And it could be like reliving experiences. Now, this can be a subject we could go deep into when it comes to transformation. And I don't believe it is always helpful. You see, there are some therapies out there, talk therapies, which want you. They're actually designed to get you to keep on reliving and talking about the trauma, right? They're designed that way. So it's not like an accident or anything. It's actually designed to get you into pain, to relive. And there's a reason why it does that, because once again, we're not repressing and we're actually trying to express it. If we're trying to relive something, we're trying to express it and work through the emotions. A bit like what CBT can do. It can be like practicing putting yourself out there. But we also know that neurologically, not for everyone once again, so we can use this for regressional hypnosis sometimes. Reliving, so where we talk about it, where we do hypnosis, reliving over and over again is intentionally meant to desensitize you, I can't even say it now, desensitize, if that's how I'm meant to be saying it, the trauma we went through, right? The more we talk about it, hopefully it gets easier to think about it. But the problem can be sometimes reliving it gets the neural networks to continually strengthen it. So there can be, not for everyone, but for some people, it can actually strengthen the issue, right? It can strengthen the pain because you're over and over again reliving the horrors, you're reliving the fear. The intention is to desensitize it, but for some people, it strengthens it. It's easier to access it because our unconscious mind's been repressing it for so long. So bringing it up and feeling that pain and reliving it can be very traumatic for some people. Now, the other thing of when talk therapy doesn't work is this. Sometimes, and I think you'll probably resonate with this one just on a conscious level, whether you've done talk therapy or not, and that is, you can talk about an issue in your life till you're blue in the face. Like, you just talk about it, and no matter how much you've talked about it, how many times you've considered different angles, all of those things, like you know it inside out. In fact, I think, look, you're probably a professional. If you have anxiety and you've had it for a continuous amount of time, you have a belief of not being good enough, if you have a belief of not feeling worthy at times, if you have interview nerves, or fill in the blank, you're pretty much a professional, right? Because you've been doing it like it's a full-time job at an unconscious level, right? You've been doing it so often, it's not new to you. Your unconscious mind just goes there. So sometimes just consciously talking about our issue may give us, oh, now I know why it happened. Now I know what happened. But no matter how much I know why, what, and even when, it's still there. And the reason it can be still there is because it doesn't live at a conscious level. You see, my belief, seeing a good, competent hypnotherapist, I'm not even selling my program here, whatever it is, seeing a good, competent hypnotherapist who knows hypnosis inside out. Now, of course, if you're a new hypnotherapist, it's not against you. It's like you got to get good work in, you got to practice, you got to research, you got to read, all of that stuff, just like how a dentist would, just like how a surgeon would, or any professional. So you got to find someone who is competent, but someone who knows this inside out is that sometimes the beliefs, and I would say all the time here, I'd go out on a limb here, all beliefs, all emotions, all behavior, all true learning, all transformation on the whole is unconscious. Your unconscious mind runs the beliefs. Your unconscious mind holds the past. Your unconscious mind controls the feelings. The unconscious mind runs the behaviors. If not, you would have just clicked your fingers and let it go. So we can understand that maybe for some people, just talking about the issue at a conscious level can also mean you're not working at the unconscious level. Now, the good thing about talk therapy is, I believe, when it does work, talking about it can express the unconscious mind for you to have insights, and I would call epiphanies at an unconscious level. You see, I do talk therapy. I can do hypnotic language patterns while people are in a conscious state of awareness. In fact, sometimes I do them here on these calls. That's my program, on these live streams and so on. I use embedded language patterns because you being here means you want to learn. Does it really mean that? No, but I'm suggesting to your unconscious mind it's an opportunity to learn. And that will cause you to shine and show up. Does it really? No, right? So all the time, I'm trying to influence in a good way your unconscious mind to transform at a conscious level. So say talk therapy can just do that. But sometimes we're going to meet the issue where it lives. And that is why I love hypnosis. So finding someone who runs that belief system, or who knows how to access that unconscious belief system, to truly get it to learn a different way of being, because every problem that we have on the inside always has a positive intention. Anxiety, positive intention. Anger, positive intention. Sadness, fear, guilt, hurt, frustration, shame. Any behavior that we run, despite how bad we feel it is, always, in my opinion, has a positive intention. And that's good news, because that means we can get the unconscious mind to learn from it. So I would say, when talking therapy doesn't work, consider, are they competent? Do you even get on with them? Maybe there's just a lack of rapport. That can happen, right? And that's why I personally don't work with everyone who tries to apply for my program. I want to like the person I'm working with, right? I don't want to work with people I dislike. I have the opportunity to do that, because it wouldn't be very nice to work with people I don't resonate with, for them to get the result. So maybe there is a rapport thing. Maybe they're not that competent. Maybe they don't understand you. Maybe expressing it over and over again is strengthening the neurotransmitters, because you're reliving the experience all the time. The intention is to desensitize it, but for not everyone does that always work. Other times you can know it inside out, but despite knowing something inside out at a conscious level, we have to meet the issue where it lives, and that's the unconscious level. Now, of course, then you can go down the path that you choose. And it may not be hypnosis. It may be something else. It may be another counselor, maybe another psychotherapist. Like, it's all up to me. You'll understand where you probably were on the category, right? If you just talked about it, blew in your face, and you just until you're blue in the face, and therefore you go, that must be why. Or maybe I lived it so often it's actually strengthening it. Maybe the person wasn't competent. Maybe I wasn't showing up. Maybe I wasn't expressing, right? I wasn't doing it. So there are many reasons, and I believe those are the reasons as to why talk therapy doesn't work all the time. Now, the other thing, actually, let's kind of close it out with this. Just talking about it can work. So like I said, I'm not negating any. I don't want to be throwing stones here. I celebrate every form of therapy. But I want you to have the conscious awareness as to if it didn't work for you, this is what we can take away, those things that I said. Now, the other thing we can consider is, it just escaped my mind for a second, so it'll come back to me. The other thing we can consider is really thinking about how much we wanted to let it go. Are we really showing up for ourselves? Maybe we're not truly committed. Oh, and I know exactly what it is. I'll just give my unconscious mind some time to pop it up into my awareness. And that is that it hasn't got an alternative. You see, going back to that intention, anxiety tries to protect you, so does fear, so do the emotions, so do the belief systems. They try to protect. So we can understand it logically. But if there's not an alternative to the present way of being that is trying to keep you safe, then what else can it do? It can't do anything else other than carrying on the same old pattern. So think about it like that. Maybe we need to do the talk therapy. Maybe we've got to meet the issue where it lives. But whatever we do, we have to come up with an alternative, evolved way that allows that part of us to still be safe and to actually be safer without it. So, for example, with my work, we create a new strategy that will fulfill the needs of why the problem ever existed, but in a safer, more protective way, while simultaneously feeling unstoppably self-confident and self-certain in any situation. That's what we do, because it's a better way of being in this world. So have that in your mind as well. Was there, because that just popped up into my mind when I was speaking, was there an alternative strategy that your unconscious mind could take on, or that you could consciously apply, which will fit the needs of true protection? Okay, so that's the last thing on that matter. Now, of course, if you ever need help when it goes to, I don't really do talk therapy, there's a level to it, but I do mainly unconscious, profound experiences, in my opinion. You can go to josephclough.info/talk. And you can try to apply for our program. When you go to josephclough.info/talk, you will be able to book a call with us. It'll be a one-to-one call with us. And you will be able to, if you're serious about this, like, you got to be a professional, you got to be truly committed and invested, financially invested, in time invested. I know you take a few hours a week, but we'll get on the call. Not necessarily me, but we'll get on the call and you'll be able to figure out where you are, where you want to be, what's getting in the way, what's really stopping us beneath the surface, and then we'll come up with a plan. We might invite you into our program. So that is josephclough.info/talk, and therefore we can really help those who really, really want to change. Like I said, invest to change. It's fully customized to your needs. I was actually just saying on the pre-show, like, how my father is in the program in terms of one of my coaches. So you really, really get the experience of being taken care of and getting you to let go of your issues. And of course, you can always go ahead and download the app. But if you're not quite there, as I always say, freehypnosis.app. It allows to get some of this conscious level going, like with 700 episodes as of today. And you can get to create your own custom hypnosis sessions. You've got hundreds of hypnosis sessions in there. And guess what? They're in the day. But guess what else? They're also nighttime. You just hit that moon icon and it goes into a night version, just like that. It's extension and it guides you to sleep. Doesn't wake you up, in other words. And then If you ever enjoyed the app, please go ahead and leave a review, and therefore we can hopefully make the world a better place. That's why I do these free episodes, 700, and it's really trying to help as many people as possible. I just want you to shine. I want you to shine. Now, with that, we're going to close out this live recording, and we'll speak to everyone else on the after show. So wherever you are in the world, I wish you the best in every way. Always know you're more than whatever you think you are. And I look forward to speaking to you in a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.